Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Zach Young, and in each episode, we're going to cover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by AJ Wilcox, founder and CEO of B2 Linked, the world's leading LinkedIn ads agency and secret weapon for B2B marketers. A pioneer who fell in love with LinkedIn ads in 2011. He has managed over $200 million in ad spend, including 5 of LinkedIn's top 10 accounts, while also hosting the LinkedIn Ads Show podcast, authoring LinkedIn learning courses, and speaking at 80+ industry events on scaling profitable campaigns. What have you been doing over the past few years? Probably not as much as him. I love it. AJ, a very warm welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks so much, Zach. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. It's very clear we got a lot to get into. Before we do, I do like to start with a little bit of your background, though. So let's go pre-2011. Before falling in love with LinkedIn ads, what were you doing? And what was really your inspiration for getting into this space?
Yeah, so I started out my career in search engine optimization and Google ads, and I really enjoyed them. Search was great. And then a few companies later, I end up being recruited by a pre-IPO SaaS company. And it was the very first B2B company I'd ever had a real interaction with. And as I went in, my new CMO was like, hey, all the strategies that you're thinking, go ahead and implement. But just so you know, we started a pilot using LinkedIn ads. We're spending about $2,000 a month on those. See what you can do. And I jumped in because I didn't want to look stupid to my new boss and pretend I didn't know what a LinkedIn ad was. And it over time, it became this company's largest lead driver. And we ended up growing that to become LinkedIn's largest spending ads account in the world. So I got to run that for 2.5 years. And the whole time I'm looking around going, wow, why is no one talking about LinkedIn ads? They're incredible. Everyone's stuck on Meta and Google. And so that's when I decided to jump in and start my own agency focused just on LinkedIn ads.
Love it. So LinkedIn ads, they found you.
Yeah, they did. They fell into my lap. And I'm not ungrateful for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a long time, right? Weird to say 2011 was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You've had the agency for a long time. I'm sure it's changed a little bit throughout the years, as most businesses do. But let's dive into present day, right? It's mid-January 2026. What does working with AJ look like today? How do you structure your work with your clients? Everything like that.
So we've found that when someone is running ads on LinkedIn, there are a few different ways that they want help. What we started out doing back in 2014 was just account management. We were going to be someone's agency and run all their spend that way. And we found that there's a whole class of companies who they just won't hire an agency. It's just not in their DNA. And so we launched several other ways that we can help, different product lines. And so we do an audit. Usually that's the best way to help someone who's already been advertising. We have individual coaching where I can teach and train teams on how to take it internal or just manage it better, improve things. And then we also have a private community that is a very low cost way of getting direct feedback from all of us here and from other experts in the community. So that's what I'm so excited about is now it doesn't matter what you're doing on LinkedIn, we have a way of helping you out.
Nice. That's that experience you have, right? You've
Yeah.
been in the game a long time, every single way you could help people. I love that. A bit of a broad question here, possibly. But if someone was like, AJ, why should I go with LinkedIn ads over Meta ads? What's your response?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is the only channel on the planet that has the ability to target someone by, in a scalable way, just by who they are professionally. So Meta has pretty good AI. You tell it, this is the group I want to go after, and it's large, and then they use their machine learning to try to test and figure out who it's relevant to or not. But inevitably, your sales team is going to say, hey, we got a lot of really cheap leads, but we had to throw out 90% of them because they're not a good fit. Whereas with LinkedIn, we get to say, ooh, only target them if they are this size of company in this industry and have this title in this geography. And so 100% of the leads that come in are a perfect fit for you. They're 3 to 5 times more expensive than they would be on Meta. And that's really the value, is the quality over the quantity.
Okay. Yeah. The specificity. That's a tough word to get out with those leads. Absolutely. Let's be honest. We don't like churning through leads that we have no business calling. Nobody wants to be doing that.
No. And some companies like it. Some companies, especially for a new SDR, maybe want some cheaper leads to train on. And sure. Yeah, Meta works great for that. But what we find is when we compare Meta versus LinkedIn, yes, Meta brings in leads that are a third the cost. But by the time you're measuring cost per proposal sent and cost per closed deal, LinkedIn actually pulls ahead despite being quote unquote more expensive.
Yeah. Okay. And LinkedIn is very well known for being the buttoned up social media platform, business, B2B.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously you started in that space. Have you still seen that it's very still B2B, or are you seeing some success with B2C offers on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly B2B because of the cost. Like we pay on average, we'll call it like $10 to $15 per click. So if you have a cheaper B2C offer, like you're selling purses, it wouldn't be possible to have a return on investment. But there are B2C offers that have higher lifetime values. Things like recruiting is technically a B2C activity, even though, or technically, yeah, it's technically B2C, even though we're targeting people by their title. So it feels B2B. Higher ed works really well on LinkedIn, like master's programs, finance types of offers like retirement help and that kind of thing. That tends to work well too. But I'd say it's probably 90% B2B.
90% B2B. Okay. To the future a little bit, do you see that changing at all? And the reason I ask, I talk to a lot of B2C people on the show. Could be like,
Yep.
say, a fitness coach, for example.
Yep.
I actually had a few people saying, hey, I'm having really good success on LinkedIn.
Surprise, we've got some members of our community who are in like personal fitness and targeting executives, and they're having a lot of success too. So yeah, that's like a whole other segment. And here about 2-3 years ago, LinkedIn released a new ad format that lets you promote an individual's post rather than the company. And because individuals' posts tend to have such high engagement compared to companies, it's brought costs down. And it really has opened up the gates for even some of the lower cost kinds of activities. And I think it does. It opens the doors for B2C a little bit, but the costs are still a little bit high. You still need to make sure you have a high lifetime value.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. And so I know on in the meta sphere, if I could say, having organic content to support the paid content is important. Is it the same on LinkedIn?
I would say not quite as much, but when you promote an individual's post, they have to actually post that on their LinkedIn profile organically first before we can promote it. So inherently, just by using the ad format, you're also driving some organic. From the company side, we could promote a post that already exists on the company page, or we can create posts from scratch. And most of the time, I just say, let's just create posts from scratch that are just going to be ads, because company content doesn't tend to get a whole lot of engagement and views anyway, organically, versus the paid from the organic a little bit on the company side.
Got it. Okay. And like I said, as you can probably tell, I got a little bit of knowledge on the Meta ads, not so much on LinkedIn. Meta has the ads library. Yep. You can go search anybody's ads. Is it the same for LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn is following Meta's lead in a lot of ways. We ended up getting our own ads library, I would say 3 days after Mark Zuckerberg got taken in front of Congress. And so LinkedIn's paying attention. Anytime Meta gets in trouble, LinkedIn goes, hey, we have a new boundary or term of service or something that's going to keep us from getting in trouble too.
Yeah. Okay. They're innovating. They want to get into the space because ad revenue for Meta makes up 99% of its revenue. And LinkedIn, it's less, right? Because they have the subscription model. So some people use that like, hey, Facebook for ads, because that's 99% of the revenue versus LinkedIn, maybe it's 50%. Yeah. I'm not sure, but it sounds like to me, that number's going to keep creeping up. They want to become a bigger player in this space.
Yeah. And this is what I've been fighting with the whole time I've been in love with LinkedIn ads, is like LinkedIn's recruiter product is where they make all their money. So ads was an afterthought, but at some point they're going to tap out everyone who is a recruiter and wants to recruit talent. They will have already gotten one of the licenses or decided to do something else, but advertising keeps climbing. So eventually I think advertising, maybe if we look forward 5 or 10 years, I think will end up becoming a real priority for LinkedIn.
Very nice. You're a big player in the space, right? You've been here since the start. Has LinkedIn ever asked you for some opinions? Have they ever reached out to you?
Yeah. I've been involved in several of their customer advisory boards. Yeah. Get regular attention from their product people on just asking my opinion about products they're releasing. So we're official partners. We get access to their roadmap a little early. So yeah, I get a little bit of help and a little bit of info that I wouldn't get otherwise, but certainly anyone from LinkedIn listening, I'm willing to give more.
I love it. That you deserve that, right? At least you deserve that for what you've been doing.
I think so.
Very cool. Very cool. So you've been in business a good amount of time now, right? I think you've used the term we a couple times. Tell us about the team you've built out to support you with the agency and everything you're doing here.
Yeah, we just turned 11 years old back in October, and we've gone through a lot of different iterations. We've grown, we've contracted. Right now, what we've settled on is actually quite small. There's only 10 of us. And I personally, as we grew, I got to the point where I hired directors to manage account managers to manage ad accounts. And I just wasn't happy with the churn rate of clients, with the service that they were getting. And quite frankly, I missed being in the accounts. And so we flattened it to where we can't grow as fast or as large like this, but I'm involved in every account as a strategist. And I have the rest of the team. They're all local. We don't outsource anything, but all local, helping with things like launching the ads and creating them and budgeting and pacing and reporting. But I actually get to work with every client, and I've settled on that. It's nice. I'm working really long hours, but it's what I started the business for. I love being in LinkedIn ads, and I get to do that still.
Yeah, it's your business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We may see online scale who can hit 10, 50, whatever million it is. It doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also look at what the promise of scaling to that high is. And yes, people who run companies like that, they have multiple boats, they have multiple houses, but I don't see it severely affecting my life. I don't need multiples of things. I don't even have a boat, but
maybe one day, maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
No, I like that. That's a good approach to it. Absolutely. Let's talk about the podcast a little bit. When did that going? How did that get going? Just walk us through that process.
I have been in love with podcasts for probably 12 or 13 years at this point. As a subscriber, as a listener, I loved them. And so I always wanted to be a podcaster. But I thought, LinkedIn ads, it's such a narrow niche. I can't imagine that there's room for a podcast that anyone would even tune in. And then right at the beginning of COVID, I was on a podcast called the social media, what is it? It's Michael Stelzner's The Social Media Marketing Show or podcast. And I was talking to him after the show, and he said, when are you going to launch your podcast? And I was like, I just don't think my niche is big enough. And he was like, dude, that's exactly why you should launch it. Niche is where it's going to win. And so I did. At the beginning of COVID, I decided to launch my own podcast, and we're now probably 170 episodes in, and it's a lot more work than what I ever predicted or expected, but it's also, it probably accounts for half of our deals that we bring in. So I love it. I'm going to keep doing it.
Wow. Half of your deals through the podcast itself. Yeah. Not bad at all. I have to assume you're having guests on.
No, most of the time it's solo. If I ever do have a guest, it's usually like an employee of LinkedIn talking about a new product that they're bringing out. But most of the time it's solo, because when I first started the podcast, there wasn't anyone else that I would bring on and expect to have enough knowledge to share. But now, oh boy, we have competition now. There are many other thought leaders and experts and other competing agencies. So I think if I started today, I probably would bring on other experts, but mostly solo.
Wow. 170 episodes soloed. I hear that's right.
Yeah.
Wow. That consistency just by itself, not even the fact that you get 50% of your deals from it, just the pure consistency of 170 episodes by yourself. That's commendable in and of itself. Yeah. That's tremendous. Absolutely.
And as the one who's taking the sales calls when people are leads, there's a marked difference. When someone is a listener of the podcast, pretty much they show up on the call and they say, hey, I've looked at your pricing on the website because you're transparent there. I know we want to work with you. Like, here's what we got. How do we get started? But if someone comes from a different source, they come on, hey, so how are you different from your competitors? And tell us why we should listen to you. And it's just a very different quality of a conversation.
Yeah, two very different conversations.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you've taken some of those before, you know, the first is much, much better.
Oh,
so 50% from the podcast, right? Then I'm going to take a wild guess here and say most of the other 50% coming from LinkedIn ads. Am I right there?
Nope. Thank goodness. So this is actually what's funny is we have a lot of success running LinkedIn ads for our own clients and customers, but we've never really had a lot of success running them for ourselves. And I have a lot of friends who also run agencies. And so I've gotten to run a lot of theirs. I haven't found agencies to work very well on LinkedIn ads. So what I've done is over the last 11 years, I've really done a lot of investment into just sharing everything I know, posting on LinkedIn, uploading videos to YouTube, sharing any chance I get. And that investment in content has created a ton of inbound leads to the point where I just need to keep up content creation. But we don't run hardly any ads. I think we spend like maybe $100 a month on Google and $100 a month on LinkedIn just to test things.
Wow. Quite, quite the story. But I'll be honest, I've heard that too, right? Of other agencies being great at other people's ads, but their own ads aren't really that. And that's interesting how that works. That's probably a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
I think your point where, hey, you've been doing this for 11 years, you've been pumping out content, especially with the podcast, right? But everything else as well. And you built yourself and you've done it for long enough that you built your own engine. You don't have to be spending thousands of dollars a month in ads to actually build a sustainable business where you could have employees, things like that. That's
Oh
just,
yeah.
you're reaping the benefits of back when you were in 2012, you didn't really know what you were doing. You were just like, I'm going to post for posting. You're reaping those benefits now.
Yeah. And if I would have invested money into advertising, we could have grown faster. We could have learned faster. But 11 years in, I only knew what I know. And I'm really glad I did the investment in organic that I did.
Yeah, very nice. So AJ, we've gone over the past a little bit. Let's look to the future a little bit. Any specific goals you've set for yourself in the business, let's say over the next year, right? It's still early January 2026 that you're looking to achieve.
Ooh. If I have to take a step, because I'm not a big goal setter, but if I do, I'm working a lot of hours. I'm like 10 to 12 hours a day right now. And the whole time I've been doing that, fearing like what happens when I reach burnout. I haven't hit it yet, thank goodness. I'm very happy, but we are bringing on a new employee they're actually at LinkedIn right now. And so we're pulling them away from LinkedIn. I'm really excited about that hire. I think this is going to be cool. But
Nice.
if they take off the way that I think they're going to, they're going to be able to take a lot off of our plates. We're going to be able to automate some things and hopefully get me some time back in my day. That's what I'm hoping.
I love it. Great hire makes sense, right? Take them from LinkedIn. Hopefully it's all okay with LinkedIn. Everything's good there, but I love it. That makes a lot of sense. Perfect. AJ, pleasure having you on, my friend. Obviously, I'm going to ask, where's the best place for them to find you? I'm going to guess LinkedIn, AJ Wilcox on LinkedIn. Any
Nailed
other
it.
best places for the listeners to find you, connect with you online?
Yeah, obviously, if you're a listener to podcasts, check out the LinkedIn ads show. We get really geeky into a different area of LinkedIn ads every week. But yeah, follow me on LinkedIn. I share my best stuff there, and it's really easy to figure out how to get in contact. My DMs are free and open, and reach out.
Love it. AJ, pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Zach.
And that will wrap up another inspiring episode of The Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go and connect with AJ, obviously on LinkedIn. He's clearly the expert. Go check him out. Go send him a DM. Go talk to him. He knows what he's doing. All of his links will be in the show notes and description down below. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're looking to scale your business, and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from 0 to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.